KXLH starts right now.
Thanks for trusting KXLH. First at 5:30, there's a quiet and somber mood in one Missoula neighborhood today, nearly 24 hours after gunfire killed 2 people and left a third critically injured. While we still don't know many of the details, Missoula police say the man who survived is the shooter. And we now know the names of 2 of the people killed. One was a colleague of ours in television news. 34-year-old Kaylee Scolati was news director at ABC Fox in Missoula and Bozeman. A statement from KMTF television said Scolati grew up in Missoula and graduated with honors from the University of Montana Journalism School in 2005. It added that she was kind, passionate, and that her co-workers are heartbroken. Scolati leaves behind 3 children. Meanwhile, Missoula police are continuing to investigate the double homicide that left 2 dead, 1 in critical condition from a gunshot wound. MTN's Don Fisher has more from Missoula.
The shooting happened at 314 Brook Street around 6:40 p.m. Wednesday. Officers found 34-year-old Kaylee Scolati and 46-year-old Anthony Dupraz dead inside the home. A 36-year-old man was also found in critical condition. Sergeant Travis Welsh with the Missoula Police Department says evidence suggests that the 36-year-old man shot Scolati and Dupraz with the handgun before shooting himself in the head. As of Thursday morning, he was in critical condition at St. Patrick Hospital.
At this point, we have served a search warrant at the house. The scene has been processed and evidence has been noted and evaluated. Now we're in the process of trying to determine a motive and a reason for it. Also trying to determine the origin of the weapon.
The weapon was a handgun, which was found at the scene. Police investigated until about 3 a.m. The relationship of the 3 has not been released, but Welsh says evidence suggests that Dupraz was a friend of Scolati's and arrived at the house after the 2 were already there. They say Scolati may have called Dupraz to come to the house before the shooting occurred.
There are numerous unanswered questions, and unfortunately there's nobody that was involved that's in a position to tell us what happened. So we're trying to piece together as best we can the chain of events that led up to what we discovered at 6:40 yesterday afternoon.
In Missoula, Don Fisher, MTN News.
The identity of the suspected shooter has not been released. While corrections officers have one of the hardest jobs around.
Right guard, left wheel, coach.
And today they were honored at the Capitol. Officials laid a wreath at the State Law Enforcement Memorial to recognize the hard and dangerous work of corrections officers as well as others in the corrections field like nurses and probation officers.
And to pay tribute to those correctional officers that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. It's a difficult profession, it's a challenging profession, and we just really wanted to pay tribute to those folks that do the work in corrections day in and day out.
4 corrections officers have died in the line of duty in Montana, the last in 1985. Director Batista says the department got some help in the legislative session, including more probation and parole officers and a pay increase for corrections officers. And that could help with its ongoing challenge of staffing Montana State Prison, which had about 65 vacancies last summer.
The labor force will continue to be a little bit of a challenge, but I think we've made some progress. We'll see in the next couple of years. That'll really tell whether or not the salary increases have helped us with recruitment and retention, but we're optimistic.
Batista said the state prison in Deer Lodge now has about 30 vacancies. That's been a common level for the past few years. Helena police are almost a month into a new digital ticketing system that is saving officers and the courts time and money. MTN's Melissa Jensen shows us how it works.
A quick scan of a barcode on the back of a license and registration is all it takes now for a Helena police officer to write someone a ticket.
A traffic stop, the average person, if they're going to get a ticket, before it would be 5 to 10 minutes. Now it's probably about 3 to 4 minutes.
Assistant Police Chief Steve Hagan says officers aren't having to handwrite the ticket any longer, and all citations can now appear on one ticket instead of individual ones like before. Not only is the process faster for creating the ticket, it's more legible as well.
You have 30 or 40 officers writing tickets and you try to decipher what they're trying to write.
And that in turn saves time for the courts.
This is a completely digital system, so all of our records go to court electronically. Court now just clicks on buttons to import So they're able to import it directly into their system.
Hagan says the system also allows them quicker access to the statistics of citations that are written, giving them an immediate snapshot of everything from distracted driving to speeding in a school zone.
We get calls all the time and say, how many distracted driving tickets have you issued in the last whatever? We can just click on that and we've got the information instantly.
Each of the 19 Helena Police Department patrol cars is outfitted with the DigiTicket, and there are 3 handheld models for use by motorcycle and bicycle officers, as well as animal control. In Helena, Melissa Jensen, MTN News.
An East Helena suspect charged with 7 felonies pleads guilty to a trio of crimes. Theodore Ebby Dodge pled guilty to burglary, theft, and forgery before District Judge James Reynolds. In 4 cases, prosecutors charged Dodge with stealing and forging checks, breaking into a neighbor's residence, stealing a $3,000 ring from his mother and pawning it, as well as taking part in numerous break-ins at American Storage on Double Eagle Road. Dodge faces a maximum of 50 years in prison for his 3 guilty pleas. Sentencing has been set for June 25th. Also in court this morning, a plea of guilty to stealing from the Cathedral of St. Helena. In a plea agreement with prosecutors, Nicolene Ann George admitted to stealing a silver bowl and donation box from the cathedral back on January 21st while she was in the company of Gary Bristol. Charging documents allege the pair stole the items, vandalized a prayer book, and allegedly desecrated the church by urinating in the building. George faces up to 10 years in prison and fines of $50,000. Judge James Reynolds ordered a pre-sentence investigation in the case. Sentencing has been scheduled for July 23rd. Meanwhile, George's co-defendant, Bristol, is scheduled to go on trial on June 23rd. Well, Helena did not experience freezing temperatures this morning, but other parts of the state did dip into the 20s, and the mercury will be falling again tonight. And for a look at what to expect, it's time to check in with Storm Tracker meteorologist Mike Rollins.
Temperatures are going to be very close to the freezing mark, I think, by morning here in Tim, and it was chilly this morning across the state. Look at some of these lows, down to 25 up in Havre. Great Falls made it down to 27. 28 is the number we watch for a hard freeze, so anything colder than that, pretty chilly there. 38 was our low here in Helena. At this hour, we're at 52 right now. Most of the state here in the 50s, but a few 40s out there, and I have been keeping an eye on some showers trying to make their way through central Montana. Overnight tonight, just cloudy and dry here with a northeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. 53 at 9 o'clock, by midnight 45, and as we get into the early morning hours, we are going to be down into the 30s. I'll show you just how cold it will get and whether or not to expect a freeze as you wake up, coming up in Storm Tracker weather.
Still ahead, honoring an educator. Accolades ranging from peers to pupils are pouring in for a Helena High teacher.